Why They Lie to Us. Commentary by Dr. Robert Owens. There are some things that are more than uncomfortable, they are almost unbearable. One of those things is poverty. They say if all you have ever known is poverty, it isn't so bad because you don't know any better. I always think that people who say that have never been poor. Since from time immemorial there has always been someone who has it better, and if not, there is always the ironclad law of the grass is always greener in someone else's pasture. When Glug the caveman dragged himself back to his little efficiency cave and tried to feed his wife and kids with the little rabbit he was able to kill, and his neighbor Gork in his sprawling mammoth cave compound next door feasted his family and the local witch doctor on prime rib of mastodon, you can bet Glug knew the difference even though he had never experienced the difference. However, there is something even worse than being poor. That is being poor again. Another of those nearly unbearable things are people who lie to your face over and over and over, and they continue to lie to your face even when they know they are lying. However, there is something worse than this. That is being so pliable that you never call them on the lie. Maybe it is because you have never taken the time to investigate their statements enough to recognize a lie. Perhaps it is because you have heard the lie all your life and you have merely accepted it as fact. Or could it be because standing up and telling liars they are lying takes moral courage, internal fortitude, and backbone? As Lenin, Adolf Hitler, his propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels and many other totalitarians, utopians, and other statists have often said, a lie told often enough becomes the truth. This is the operational dictum our elites seem to be operating on. From every mouthpiece and source the lies are trumpeted over and over. From the classroom to the newsroom, from the debate to the campaign, from the courthouse to the Capitol, over and over the party line goes forth. Our elites appear to operate on principles gleaned from George Orwell's 1984, such as, and if all others accepted the lie which the party imposed, if all records told the same tale, then the lie passed into history and became truth. Who controls the past ran the party slogan, controls the future, who controls the present controls the past. They use words in the same fashion as Orwell's Ministry of Truth, war is peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength. And our elite's dual-headed party of power seems to have adopted the guiding philosophy of Orwell's party. The party seeks power entirely for its own sake. We are not interested in the good of others, we are interested solely in power. Power is not a means, it is an end. Not power over things, but over men. In our world there will be no emotions except fear, rage, triumph, and self-abasement. There will be no loyalty, except loyalty toward the party. There will be no love, except the love of Big Brother. Always, at every moment, there will be the thrill of victory, the sensation of trampling on an enemy who is helpless. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. Every candidate and commentator, whenever they refer to illegal immigration, they base their profundities on the figure 11 million illegals. Whether they were for them or against them, this was the figure everyone agreed on. Listen to the news. Read the newspapers. Tune into the endless campaign commercials. Listen to a lecture in a public classroom, and this is the number you will hear every day, all day, and at least twice on Sunday. It might be 11 million living in the shadows. It might be 11 million who need to be deported. It might be 11 million who are doing the jobs Americans won't do. Whatever the context, it is always the same number. So no matter how the world seems to have changed around us, the number leveled off at 11 million. War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength. The interesting thing about that number is that it hasn't changed since 2005, and even then so-called experts on counting the uncountable thought there could be as many as 20 million. Have people stopped coming? Does the Immigration Service run the country with the efficiency of security guards at an overcrowded Walmart? No one comes in unless someone else leaves. And this is not the only example. Think of the Vietnam War. It ended in 1973 with the Paris Peace Accords. Henry Kissinger won the Nobel Peace Prize for negotiating this peace. In these accords, North Vietnam acceded to our demands. They stopped fighting and returned the known and acknowledged prisoners of war. In 1973 America won the Vietnam War, all combat troops left, and for the United States the war was over. For 2 years the South Vietnam we had fought to protect stood as an independent nation. They held a democratic election, the opposition won, and there was a peaceful transfer of power. Then in 1975, after so many former anti-war and anti-government agitators had been elected, what was then called the Watergate Congress made it abundantly clear that no matter what happened we would not support or even resupply the South. The North invaded. The dispirited Southerners threw down their guns and surrendered. Every time the Vietnam War is mentioned in print, in class, on TV, or radio, we are told it was a debacle, we lost, it was a mistake, and we are regaled with photos of people hanging from helicopters trying to escape the victorious communists, or of bulldozers pushing planes off aircraft carriers. The problem with these pictures are that the people hanging from the helicopters were our South Vietnamese allies whom we had abandoned to the communists, and the planes being pushed off the decks of our carriers were South Vietnamese jets, and we were trying to make room for more to land who were fleeing the collapse we had caused. If we left in 1973 as victors of the Second Vietnam War and the Third Vietnam War ended in 1975, how do you lose a war if you aren't there? Other lies that are force-fed to a silent nation: women are a minority. Illegal immigrants only take the jobs Americans won't do. The national debt is sustainable. There is no inflation. Unemployment is X%. The Supreme Court issues settled law. Due to the restraint of time and space, this list is not meant to be all-inclusive. How long will we sit silent as we are fed these lies? What happens if we sit for too long? We eventually tune them out, or we come to act as if what we are spoon-fed is true. Either way, the elites win, as we the people are forced to pay taxes to hire teachers to indoctrinate our own children in the lies. We all know that the truth is the truth and non-truth is the lie. Yet because of political correctness, peer pressure, and the uniformity of the media megaphone, we know that some truths must never be said and some lies are repeated endlessly. Looking to the examples given to us in Orwell's 1984, freedom is the freedom to say that 2 + 2 makes 4. If that is granted, all else follows. And, 4, after all, how do we know that 2 and 2 make 4? Or that the force of gravity works? Or that the past is unchangeable? If both the past and the external world exist only in the mind, and if the mind itself is controllable, what then? Why do they lie to us? Because it advances the agenda, maintains the power of the elites, and because we allow it go on. This raises the same question: what then?